What happens when saving a life costs you your sanity? When the man you love is only whole because you're falling apart. This is a story about a broke veterinary student who dragged a dying billionaire alpha from the gutter and accidentally tethered her soul to his. She thought she was his savior. She had no idea she was becoming his sacrifice. Hey there, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the channel. And if you are new, smash that subscribe button. Drop your city or country in the comments below. Alright, let's dive in. The rain came down in sheets that night, turning the streets of Obsidian City into rivers of neon and grime. Maya Bennett pulled her threadbare coat tighter around her shoulders as she stumbled out the back door of the 24-hour veterinary clinic, the stench of disinfectant and wet dog still clinging to her scrubs. Her shift had run 4 hours over. Again. Her feet ached. Her student loans were suffocating her. And she still had a pharmacology exam in 6 hours that she hadn't studied for. She didn't have time to notice the blood. Not at first. It was just another shadow in the alley behind the clinic, another heap of trash, another passed-out drunk, another casualty of a city that chewed people up and spit them out. Maya had learned to keep her head down. This wasn't her problem. But then the shadow moved. And then it growled. Maya froze. Her breath misted in the cold air as she slowly turned her head toward the sound. What she saw made her heart stop. A man. No, not just a man. He was massive, sprawled against the wet brick wall like a fallen god. His suit was shredded, soaked through with rain and blood. So much blood. It pooled beneath him, black under the flickering streetlight. His chest heaved with shallow, desperate breaths. But it was his eyes that locked her in place. Golden. Feral. Glowing. And fixed directly on her. Help! The word came out as a rasp, barely human. His hand twitched toward her, claws, actual claws, scraping against the concrete. Maya's instincts screamed at her to run. Every horror movie she'd ever seen, every true crime podcast, every warning her mother had ever given her, they all shrieked in unison, "Get out of here. Now." But she didn't run. Because beneath the blood and the inhuman glow of his eyes, she saw something else. Pain. And Maya Bennett, broke and exhausted and barely holding herself together, had never been able to walk away from pain. "Jesus Christ," she whispered, dropping to her knees beside him. Her hands hovered over his chest, shaking. "What happened to you?" His head lolled to the side. "Poi, son." Another growl, this one weaker. His body convulsed, muscles spasming violently. The claws retracted, then extended again. He was shifting half man, half something else. Something terrifying. Maya's mind raced. She wasn't a doctor. She wasn't even a vet yet. But she'd spent 3 years learning how to save lives, and the clinical part of her brain kicked into gear even as the rest of her screamed in terror. Poison. Shifter. Neurological symptoms. Respiratory distress. She didn't have time to think. She didn't have time to be afraid. "Okay," she muttered, more to herself than to him. Okay. She hooked her arms under his shoulders and pulled. He was impossibly heavy, easily over 200 pounds of solid muscle, but adrenaline gave her strength she didn't know she had. She dragged him inch by agonizing inch through the back door of the clinic, his blood leaving a dark smear across the linoleum floor. The clinic was empty. Dr. Harrison had left hours ago. It was just her, the dying man, and a room full of equipment meant for animals. "This is insane," Maya breathed, her hands flying over the cabinets. She grabbed an 4-line, activated charcoal, a dialysis machine they used for dogs with kidney failure. Her hands moved on autopilot, fueled by 3 years of training and pure desperation. She hooked him up to the machine, praying it would filter whatever poison was killing him. His pulse was fading. She pressed her fingers to his neck, barely there. His lips were turning blue. No, don't you dare. She started chest compressions, throwing her full weight into each push. His ribs felt like steel beneath her palms. "Come on, stay with me." "Nothing." She tilted his head back, pinched his nose, and breathed into his mouth. Once. Twice. Back to compressions. "Breathe," she begged. His body went rigid. His back arched off the table. And then, his eyes snapped open. Golden fire. And before Maya could even gasp, he moved. Faster than anything human. His hand shot out and clamped around her wrist with crushing force. She cried out, but his grip was iron. He yanked her toward him, and she saw his mouth open, saw the fangs. "No, wait." Pain exploded through her wrist as his teeth sank deep into her flesh. Maya screamed. It wasn't just the physical agony, it was something else. Something that tore through her nervous system like lightning. She felt him inside her head. Felt his pain, his rage, his terror. Felt the poison burning through his veins. Felt the wolf clawing at the edges of his sanity. And then, connection. Like a circuit completing. Like two live wires touching. The world went white. When Maya came to, she was on the floor, gasping. Her wrist throbbed, blood dripping from the crescent-shaped bite. The man, the shifter, was still on the table, but his breathing had steadied. The violent convulsions had stopped. The glow in his eyes had dimmed. He was unconscious. But he was alive. Maya stared at her wrist, at the perfect impression of his teeth in her skin, and felt something she couldn't name coiling in her chest. "What did you do to me?" she whispered into the empty clinic. The man didn't answer. But somewhere deep inside her mind, beneath the shock and the fear, she felt it. A presence that wasn't hers. Watching. Waiting. Bound. Maya woke up in her own bed 3 days later with no memory of how she got there. Her apartment was still the same cramped shoebox it had always been, water-stained ceiling, flickering fluorescent light in the kitchenette, the persistent smell of mildew that no amount of bleach could kill. But something was different. She sat up slowly, her head pounding. Her wrist was bandaged professionally, with clean white gauze that definitely hadn't come from her inadequate first aid kit. She unwrapped it with trembling fingers. The bite was still there. But it had healed impossibly fast. What should have taken weeks looked like it had already been there for months, a perfect crescent scar, pale against her skin. "What the hell?" she breathed. And that's when she felt it. A presence. Not in the room, in her mind. Like someone standing just behind her, close enough to feel their breath on her neck. She spun around. Empty apartment. But the feeling didn't go away. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. 47 missed calls from Drive Harrison, 23 texts from her roommate Lily, and one notification that made her heart stop. Bank account deposit, $50,000. Maya nearly dropped the phone. There was a knock at her door. 3 sharp raps, perfectly spaced. Official. She stumbled across the apartment, still wearing the same scrubs from that night, and opened the door to find a woman in an immaculate black suit. She was tall, angular, with silver-streaked hair pulled back, so tight it could have been a weapon. "Miss Bennett." It wasn't a question. "My name is Vera. I work for Mr. Sterling. May I come in?" "I don't. Who?" Vera's expression didn't change. "The man you saved. He would like to see you." 20 minutes later, Maya was sitting in the back of a black town car that probably cost more than her entire education, watching the city transform outside the tinted windows. They left the grime and graffiti of her neighborhood behind, climbing into the glass and steel territory of Obsidian Heights, where the pack elites lived. "Mr. Sterling wanted me to convey his gratitude," Vera said from the front seat, her voice perfectly modulated. "The deposit in your account is merely the beginning. He's prepared to cover your remaining tuition, your rent, and provide a monthly stipend for your living expenses." Maya's head spun. I can't accept that." "You can and you will." Vera's eyes flicked to the rearview mirror. "You saved the life of the most powerful alpha in the city, Miss Bennett. That kind of debt cannot be measured in money, but Mr. Sterling prefers to start somewhere tangible. Alpha. The word tasted strange in her mouth. Maya had known shifters existed, everyone did. They ran the major corporations, controlled the city's infrastructure, dominated the social hierarchy. But she'd never actually met one before that night. Roman Sterling, CEO of Sterling Industries, head of the Obsidian Pack. Vera's tone suggested Maya should have known this already. You really didn't recognize him? I was a little busy trying to keep him from dying. The faintest hint of approval flickered across Vera's face. Yes. So we gathered from the creative use of veterinary equipment. Dr. Harrison was quite confused when he arrived at the clinic the next morning to find blood everywhere and his dialysis machine running. Maya's stomach dropped. Am I in trouble? Dr. Harrison has been compensated for his silence and the use of his facility. You're not in trouble, Miss Bennett. Quite the opposite. The car pulled up to a building that looked like it had been carved from black glass and ambition. Sterling Tower. Maya had seen it on the skyline her entire life, a dark monolith that dominated the city's financial district. Vera led her through a lobby of marble and chrome, into a private elevator that required a keycard and a retinal scan. They rose in silence, Maya's ears popping as they climbed higher and higher. Some advice, Vera said as the numbers ticked upward. Mr. Sterling is different than he was before. Better. We don't fully understand why, but the staff has noticed. Whatever you did that night, it helped him in ways that go beyond simple medical intervention. The elevator doors opened onto a penthouse office that was more window than wall. The city sprawled below like a circuit board of lights. And there, standing at the glass with his hands in his pockets, was the man from the alley. Except he didn't look like the same man at all. Roman Sterling turned to face her, and Maya's breath caught. He was beautiful. That was the only word for it. Tall, broad-shouldered, with dark hair that looked like he'd been running his hands through it and a jaw that could cut glass. He wore a charcoal suit that probably cost more than her car, if she'd had a car. But it was his eyes that held her frozen. Still golden. But now they were warm instead of feral. Human, with just a hint of wolf lurking beneath. Maya. Her name in his voice was a revelation. Deep, rough around the edges, like whiskey and smoke. Thank you for coming. She couldn't find words. All she could do was stare at him and feel that presence in her mind surge, like recognizing a part of herself she hadn't known was missing. He felt it too. She saw his eyes widen fractionally, saw his hand grip the edge of his desk. Everyone out, he said quietly. Now. Vera left without a word, the door clicking shut behind her. They were alone. Roman crossed the office in 3 strides and stopped just in front of her, close enough that she had to tilt her head back to meet his eyes. Close enough that she could feel the heat radiating off him. You should have let me die, he said. Maya blinked. Excuse me. You should have run. Any sane person would have. His hand lifted slowly, hesitantly, until his fingers brushed the bandage on her wrist. I bit you. I could have killed you. You didn't. I could have. His jaw clenched. I don't remember much from that night. Just pain and poison and the feeling of drowning in my own mind. And then, you. Your voice. Your hands. His thumb traced the edge of the bandage. Your heartbeat. The touch sent electricity racing up her arm. Maya pulled back, wrapping her arms around herself. What happened to me? I lost 3 days. And my wrist healed too fast. And theirs, she pressed a hand to her temple. There's something in my head that wasn't there before. Roman's expression darkened. I know. I feel it too. What is it? I don't know yet. But I'm going to find out. He turned away, moving back to the windows. I've had the best pack doctors running tests. Something happened when I bit you. Some kind of connection formed. A bond. What kind of bond? The kind that doesn't break easily. He looked at her over his shoulder, and the weight of that golden gaze nearly drove her to her knees. I'm sorry. I never meant to drag you into my world. But now that you're here. His voice dropped. I'm finding it very hard to let you go. Maya should have been terrified. Should have demanded answers, should have run for the door. But instead, she took a step closer. Why would someone try to kill you? Roman laughed, a dark, humorless sound. I have enemies, Maya. Rivals who want my territory, my company, my pack. The poison they used was Wolfsbane X, a synthetic neurotoxin designed specifically to target shifters. It attacks the neural pathways that allow us to shift. It's supposed to be painless. A quiet death. His hands clenched into fists. They didn't count on you. Who did this? I have suspicions. But no proof. Not yet. He turned to face her fully. Which is why I need you safe. Protected. Let me do that. Please. There was something vulnerable in the way he said it. This man, this alpha, who commanded a corporate empire and led a pack of wolves, was asking her permission. Maya thought of her student loans, her eviction notice sitting unopened on her kitchen counter, the patients at the clinic she could barely afford to help. She thought of the practical thing to do. And then she thought of the way his eyes had looked in that alley, desperate and dying, and how something in her chest had recognized him. Okay, she whispered. Roman's entire body seemed to relax. Okay, but I have conditions. I'm not a charity case. If you're going to pay my tuition, I want to work for it. I don't know, work at your company or something. I can't just take money from you. A smile tugged at the corner of his mouth, the first real smile she'd seen from him. It transformed his face, softened all those hard edges. You saved my life. That's worth considerably more than tuition. Still. Stubborn. But he said it like a compliment. Fine. You can work at the Sterling Foundation, our medical research division. We fund veterinary medicine programs. Your expertise would be valuable. It was a compromise. They both knew it. Maya stuck out her hand. Deal. Roman looked at her offered hand for a long moment. Then, instead of shaking it, he took her hand in both of his and lifted it to his mouth. He pressed his lips to her scarred wrist, right over the bite mark. The kiss was featherlight, reverent, and it set her entire nervous system on fire. Maya gasped. The presence in her mind roared to life, not painful, but overwhelming. She felt his emotions like they were her own, relief, gratitude, and beneath it all, a hunger that made her knees weak. Roman's eyes had gone molten gold. I'm sorry, he said roughly, releasing her hand. The bond. It's stronger than I expected. Maya touched her wrist, her heart racing. What exactly is this bond? I don't know yet, but I'm going to find out. He took a deliberate step back, putting distance between them. In the meantime, Vera will set you up with everything you need. Apartment, security, new phone. You'll be safe. I already have an apartment. You have a death trap with black mold and a landlord who hasn't fixed your heat in 6 months. At her shocked expression, he added, I do my research, Maya. Let me help you. She wanted to argue. But the truth was, she was tired. Bone deep, soul-crushing, exhausted from fighting to survive every single day. And here was someone offering her a lifeline. Someone who looked at her like she was precious. One more thing, Roman said as she turned to leave. Stay away from the east side of the city. Particularly anywhere near Crescent territory. That's where the attack happened. They might come looking to finish what they started. And if they find me instead? His expression went absolutely cold. Then they'll learn why I'm called the most dangerous alpha in Obsidian City. It should have sounded like a threat. Instead, it sounded like a promise. A promise that somewhere deep in Maya's chest, the bond purred in response to. 3 weeks later, Maya stood in her new apartment, an actual apartment with working heat and windows that didn't rattle in the wind, and tried to convince herself this was real. The place was in Obsidian Heights, 20 floors up with a view of the glittering city. Hardwood floors, a kitchen with appliances that actually worked, a bathroom with water pressure that didn't fluctuate between scalding and Arctic. It was more space than she'd ever had in her life. And it was suffocating. Not because of the apartment itself, but because of what it represented. Roman Sterling had swept into her life like a hurricane, and in 3 weeks he dismantled every struggle she'd built her identity around. No more student loans. No more working double shifts. No more choosing between groceries and textbooks. She should have been grateful. She was terrified. Her phone buzzed, another text from Lily, her former roommate, who'd been blowing up her messages since Maya moved out. Lily, girl, are you alive? You've been ghosting me for weeks. What's going on? Maya stared at the message. How could she explain? Hey, sorry, I saved a werewolf billionaire's life, and now he's paying for my entire existence, and there's something in my head that feels like him watching me even when he's not there. Yeah, that would go over well. She was saved from responding by a knock at her door. When she opened it, Vera stood there with her usual impeccable composure and a garment bag draped over her arm. Good evening, Miss Bennett. Mr. Sterling requests your presence at a charity gala tonight. Maya's stomach dropped. A what? The Sterling Foundation's annual fundraiser. It's the social event of the season. Vera stepped inside, hanging the garment bag on the back of the door. Mr. Sterling thought it would be appropriate for you to attend, given your new position with the foundation. I don't. I've never been to anything like that. I don't know how to, which is why I'm here. Vera's expression softened fractionally. I'll help you prepare. Hair, makeup, the dress, it's all arranged. Maya unzipped the garment bag and her breath caught. The dress was midnight blue, elegant and simple, with a neckline that would show just enough skin to be interesting without being scandalous. It was the most beautiful thing she'd ever seen. I can't wear this. You can and you will. Mr. Sterling selected it himself. Vera checked her watch. We have 2 hours. Let's begin. The Sterling Foundation Gala was held in the Grand Obsidian Hotel, a palace of marble and gold that made Maya feel like she'd stepped into another world. Crystal chandeliers dripped from the ceiling like frozen waterfalls. Men in tuxedos and women in designer gowns moved through the space with the practiced ease of people who belonged there. Maya didn't belong there. She stood at the edge of the ballroom, gripping a champagne flute she hadn't taken a single sip from, and tried not to hyperventilate. Vera had abandoned her 20 minutes ago to handle a situation, leaving Maya alone in a sea of shifter elite who looked at her with barely concealed curiosity. The human who saved Roman Sterling. She could hear them whispering. There she is, the clinic girl. I heard she used dog equipment to save him. Can you imagine? She must be extraordinary. Roman hasn't had a companion in years. Companion. The word made her skin crawl. She wasn't his companion. She was what? His charity case? His obligation? Maya. She turned at the sound of his voice and forgot how to breathe. Roman Sterling in a suit was devastating. Roman Sterling in a tuxedo was a weapon. He moved through the crowd like he owned it, which, technically, he did, his golden eyes locked on her with an intensity that made her forget there were 300 other people in the room. He stopped in front of her, and the corner of his mouth lifted. You look beautiful. Heat flooded her cheeks. You clean up pretty well yourself. Dance with me. It wasn't a question, but he held out his hand like he was giving her a choice anyway. Maya set down her champagne and slipped her hand into his. The moment their skin touched, the bond sang. Roman's eyes flashed gold, and she felt his sharp intake of breath. I'll never get used to that, he murmured, leading her onto the dance floor. He pulled her close, one hand at her waist, the other cradling her hand against his chest. They moved together like they'd done this 1,000 times before, his body guiding hers through the steps with effortless grace. I didn't know you could dance, Maya said, acutely aware of how close they were. How good he smelled, like pine and rain and something uniquely him. There are a lot of things you don't know about me. His thumb traced small circles on her lower back, and she shivered. But I'd like you to. Why? The question came out before she could stop it. Why me, Roman? You could have anyone. Why are you doing all of this? His expression grew serious. Because for the first time in 5 years, I can breathe. Do you understand what that means? His hand tightened on her waist. I've spent half a decade fighting my own mind. The alpha madness, it's a death sentence. Slow, agonizing, inevitable. I was losing myself piece by piece. And then you appeared in that alley, and everything stopped. What do you mean, stopped? The noise. The rage. The constant urge to rip apart everything and everyone around me. He leaned closer, his lips nearly brushing her ear. It's gone, Maya. I haven't had a violent episode since the night you saved me. My pack has noticed. My board has noticed. I'm making better decisions, building instead of destroying. You gave me my sanity back. Maya's heart raced. I didn't do anything. You did everything. He pulled back to look at her, and the raw emotion in his eyes stole her breath. I don't understand how or why, but you're the reason I'm still here. Still me. And I. He stopped himself, jaw clenching. You what? Maya whispered. Roman looked at her like he was memorizing her face. Like she was something precious and terrifying all at once. I'm falling for you. The world tilted. Maya stared up at him, her heart in her throat. This wasn't supposed to happen. This was supposed to be temporary, a transaction, a debt being repaid. She wasn't supposed to feel like her entire universe had just reorganized itself around this man. But she did. God help her, she did. Roman, The music cut off abruptly. The lights flickered. Roman's entire body went rigid, his hand tightening on Maya's waist. His eyes scanned the room with predatory focus. Something's wrong. Before Maya could ask what he meant, the ballroom doors burst open. Shifters flooded in, at least a dozen of them, moving with coordinated precision. They weren't in tuxedos. They were in tactical gear, faces covered, weapons drawn. Screams erupted. The crowd scattered. Roman shoved Maya behind him, his body a shield. Get down. But Maya couldn't move. Because the lead shifter had pulled off his mask, revealing a face that was almost beautiful, sharp cheekbones, ice blue eyes, and a smile that promised violence. Hello, Roman. The man's voice was cultured, amused. Miss me? Roman's growl was pure animal. Zane. In the flesh. Zane's eyes slid past Roman to Maya, and his smile widened. And you must be the little human everyone's talking about. The miracle worker. How fascinating. Get away from her. Roman's voice dropped to something subhuman, and Maya felt the air in the room change. Felt his power pressing against her skin like a physical force. Or what? You'll lose control? Have one of your famous episodes. Zane laughed. Oh wait. You can't anymore, can you? I heard about your miraculous recovery. Imagine my surprise. Roman shifted forward, but Zane's men raised their weapons, not guns, but something else. Dart guns loaded with vials of glowing green liquid. Wolfsbane X. Zane tooted. Let's not be hasty. I just came to deliver a message. His eyes fixed on Maya, and she felt ice slide down her spine. We know about the bond. We know she's the reason you're stable. Which means... He tilted his head. She's your weakness. Touch her and I'll rip your throat out. So protective. It's adorable. Zane gestured to his men. We're leaving. But understand this, Roman, your little pet has made you vulnerable. The other packs are circling. They smell blood in the water. And when they come for you... His smile turned razor sharp. They'll come for her first. In a coordinated move, Zane's team fired smoke grenades. The ballroom filled with choking gray clouds. Maya couldn't see, couldn't breathe. Strong arms wrapped around her. Roman. I've got you. Stay close. He moved through the chaos with preternatural grace, one arm locked around her waist. Maya heard shouting, the sound of fighting, but Roman didn't stop. He carried her through a service entrance, down a hallway, into a private elevator. The doors closed. The sounds of chaos cut off. They were alone. Maya's legs gave out. Roman caught her, lowering them both to the elevator floor. She was shaking, full body tremors she couldn't control. "Breathe," Roman murmured, cupping her face in his hands. "Just breathe. You're safe." "Safe?" Maya laughed, a hysterical, broken sound. "Those men were there to kill you. Because of me. Because I saved you and now you're—" Her voice cracked. "This is my fault." "No." Roman's voice was steel. "This is Zane's fault. Zane Crescent, Alpha of the Crescent Pack. He's the one who ordered the hit on me 3 weeks ago. And now he knows about you. Why does he want you dead? Because I refuse to let him expand his territory into mine. Because Sterling Industries is developing tech that would make his company obsolete. Because I'm stronger than him and he can't stand it." Roman's jaw clenched. "Take your pick." Maya touched his face, drawing his eyes back to hers. "He said I'm your weakness." "He's wrong." Roman turned his head, pressing a kiss to her palm. "You're my strength. And I will burn the entire city down before I let anyone hurt you." The bond between them flared, hot and fierce and possessive. Maya felt his determination like it was her own. Felt his rage at the threat to her, his fear of losing her, his love. It hit her like a freight train. The realization that this wasn't just gratitude or obligation. This was real. Raw. Dangerous. And she felt the same way. "Roman," she whispered. "I'm scared." "I know." He rested his forehead against hers, his hands gentle despite the violence humming beneath his skin. "But I promise you I will keep you safe. No matter what it costs." The elevator opened onto an underground garage. A black SUV was waiting, Vera behind the wheel. "Safe house is ready," Vera called. "We need to move. Now." Roman helped Maya to her feet, his hand never leaving hers. As they climbed into the SUV, Maya looked back at the hotel, at the flashing lights and sirens and chaos they were leaving behind. Everything had changed tonight. She'd walked into that gala as a girl playing dress-up in a world that wasn't hers. She was leaving as a target. And the terrifying part? She didn't want to run. She wanted to fight. The safe house was a fortress disguised as a luxury cabin in the mountains outside Obsidian City. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking pine forests, state-of-the-art security, and enough space that Maya could have gotten lost if she tried. She stood at the window, wrapped in one of Roman's shirts, soft charcoal cashmere that smelled like him, and watched the sun rise over the mountains. She hadn't slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Zane's smile, heard his threat. They'll come for her first. Behind her, she heard Roman moving through the house. He hadn't slept either. She could feel his restlessness through the bond, a constant, prowling energy that made her own nerves hum. "Coffee?" His voice was rough with exhaustion. Maya turned. Roman stood in the kitchen doorway wearing nothing but low-slung sweatpants, his chest bare, dark hair disheveled. He looked dangerous and domestic all at once, and it did things to her heart she wasn't ready to examine. "Please." He poured 2 cups, doctoring hers the way she liked it without asking, cream, no sugar. He'd noticed. Of course he'd noticed. They sat on the leather couch, the silence heavy between them. "Vera's coordinating with the pack," Roman finally said. "Increasing security at all Sterling properties. Tracking Zane's movements. The attack last night was a declaration of war." "How does this work?" "Pack war." Roman's expression darkened. "Violently. Zane won't come at me directly, he's too smart for that. He'll target my businesses, my allies, my resources. Try to weaken me before making his move." His hand clenched around his coffee mug. "And now he knows about you. So I'm bait. You're protected." His golden eyes flashed. "I have 20 of my best wolves stationed around this property. No one gets within a mile without me knowing." Maya set down her coffee, turning to face him fully. "Roman, I can't live like this. Hiding. Waiting for the other shoe to drop. I have classes, work at the foundation, a life. Your life doesn't matter if you're dead. The words hung between them, brutal and honest. Maya flinched. Wow. Tell me how you really feel. Roman closed his eyes, jaw working. When he opened them again, the raw vulnerability there made her chest ache. I'm sorry. That came out wrong. He set down his own mug and took her hands. Maya, I've lost people before. People I cared about. People I failed to protect. I can't. His voice cracked. I won't lose you. Hey. She squeezed his hands. I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere. Promise me. His grip tightened, almost painful. Promise me you'll stay here. Stay safe. Let me handle Zane. Maya wanted to promise. Wanted to give him that peace of mind. But something in her chest rebelled at the idea of being locked away like a princess in a tower. Before she could answer, her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Unknown, Maya Bennett. We need to talk. About Roman. About what he's not telling you. Come alone. Dr. Chin, Sterling Industries Medical Division. Maya's blood ran cold. She showed Roman the message. His expression went absolutely glacial. Dr. Chen is one of the pack doctors who's been studying the bond. Why would he contact you directly? Maybe he found something? Then he would have contacted me first. Roman stood, pulling out his own phone. Something's wrong. He made a call. Waited. His frown deepened. Chen's not answering. Neither is his assistant. Another call. Vera. I need a location on Dr. Chen. Now. Maya watched him pace, the predator emerging. This was the alpha the city feared, cold, calculating, dangerous. He's at the Sterling Medical Research Facility. Vera's voice came through the speakerphone. But Roman, there's something you should know. Dr. Chen filed a report last night, flagged as urgent. It was sealed, above my clearance level. What was the report about? A pause. The neural bond. And Maya's medical scans. Maya's stomach dropped. My medical scans? When did anyone scan me? Roman's eyes met hers, guilt flashing across his face. I had the pack doctors run some tests while you were unconscious. After the bite. I needed to make sure you were okay. You tested me? Without my permission. Maya. No. She stood, anger overriding her fear. You don't get to make decisions about my body without telling me. What did they find? Roman looked like he'd rather face Zane unarmed than answer that question. They found anomalies. Your neural patterns were altered. Brain activity in regions that shouldn't be active. They wanted to run more tests, but I refused. I didn't want to put you through anything else. So you just kept it from me? I was protecting you. By lying. Maya's voice rose. By treating me like I'm too fragile to handle the truth? The bond between them crackled with tension, her anger meeting his guilt, sparking like live wires. Roman took a step toward her. You want the truth? Fine. The truth is that I don't understand what's happening between us. The truth is that you've changed me in ways that should be impossible. The truth is that I'm terrified that whatever is keeping me sane is hurting you, and I don't know how to stop it without losing my mind again. Maya's anger faltered. What do you mean, hurting me? The headaches you've been having. The nightmares. Don't think I haven't noticed. His voice dropped. You wake up screaming, Maya. I feel it through the bond. And you won't talk to me about it. Because she couldn't. How could she explain the dreams, the sensation of running on 4 legs, of hunting, of tasting blood? The mornings she woke up with her hands cramped like claws, her jaw aching like she'd been growling in her sleep? We need to see Dr. Chin, Maya said quietly. If he knows something, we need to hear it. It could be a trap. Then we spring it together. Roman studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded. Together. But you do exactly as I say. The moment anything feels wrong, you run. Understood. Understood. The Sterling Medical Research Facility was a gleaming building of steel and glass on the edge of the city. At 3 in the morning, it should have been nearly empty, Just a skeleton crew of security and late-night researchers. It was completely dark. Roman parked the SUV a block away, his entire body tense. Something's wrong. The emergency lighting should be on. Maybe it's just a power outage? Maybe. But his tone said he didn't believe it. They approached on foot, Roman keeping Maya behind him. He moved like a predator, silent and lethal. Maya tried to match his steps, her heart hammering. The front entrance was locked, but Roman produced a keycard and swiped them in. The door opened with a soft beep that sounded like a gunshot in the silence. Inside, the lobby was pitch black. No emergency lighting. No security guards. Nothing. Roman's eyes flashed gold, adjusting to the darkness. Stay close. They moved through the building, Roman navigating by memory and enhanced senses. They took the stairs to the 5th floor, the medical research wing. The door to Dr. Chen's lab was ajar. Roman held up a hand, stopping Maya. He sniffed the air, and his expression turned grim. Blood. Maya's nursing instincts overrode her fear. She pushed past him into the lab and froze. Dr. Chen was slumped over his desk, his white coat stained red. Papers were scattered everywhere, computers smashed. The room had been destroyed. Oh my God. Maya rushed to him, fingers finding his neck. He's alive. Pulse is weak, but he's alive. Roman was already on his phone. Vera. We need a medical team at the research facility. Now. Chen's been attacked. Maya's hands moved on autopilot, checking for injuries. Dr. Chen had been beaten badly, broken ribs, head trauma, internal bleeding. But he was fighting. His eyes fluttered open, focusing on her with difficulty. And Maya. His voice was a rasp. Had to warn you. Don't talk. Help is coming. No time. He grabbed her wrist with surprising strength. The bond. It's not what he thinks. What do you mean? You're not healing him. Dr. Chen coughed, blood flecking his lips. You're absorbing it. Maya's blood turned to ice. Absorbing what? The madness. The rage. You're filtering it for him. His grip tightened. Killing you. Slowly. Killing you. The world tilted. Roman was there in an instant, kneeling beside them. What the hell are you talking about? Dr. Chen's eyes rolled to Roman. The bite created a neural bridge. Your wolf, it's feeding on her humanity, her sanity. Another cough. 3 months, maybe 6, she'll be, like you were, feral. No. Roman's voice was hollow. No, that's not possible. The scans don't lie. Dr. Chen fumbled in his pocket, pulling out a flash drive. All the data, everything. He pressed it into Maya's hand. Have to. Sever the bond, only way. Sever it how? Maya demanded. Ritual. Old pack magic. Dangerous. But only way to save. Dr. Chen's eyes went wide. He gasped, body convulsing. Maya tried to stabilize him, but she could feel him slipping, could feel the life bleeding out of him. Roman. Dr. Chen's voice was barely a whisper. They're here. Crescent Pack, this was bait. And then the windows exploded. Shifters poured through the shattered glass, 6, 8, 10 of them. Too many. All wearing the silver and black of the Crescent Pack. Roman moved faster than Maya's eyes could track. He shifted mid-leap, bones cracking, muscles reforming. One moment he was a man, the next he was a massive wolf with midnight black fur and eyes like molten gold. The wolf that was Roman threw himself at the attackers with savage grace. Maya pressed herself against the wall, still holding the unconscious Dr. Chen, and watched Roman fight. He was beautiful and terrible. Claws tearing through flesh. Jaws crushing bone. He moved like violence given form, protecting her with every ounce of his being. But there were too many. A shifter got past him, lunging for Maya with claws extended. She didn't think. She grabbed a surgical tray from the destroyed lab and swung it with all her strength. The metal connected with the shifter's skull with a sickening crunch. He went down. Maya stared at her hands, at the dented tray, at the unconscious shifter. What did I just do? Roman's wolf appeared at her side, blood on his muzzle. He nuzzled against her, checking her for injuries, making sure she was okay. Then he shifted back to human, standing between her and the attackers with lethal intent. Enough. Zane's voice cut through the chaos. He stood in the doorway, flanked by more of his pack. He looked at the carnage, his injured wolves, the destroyed lab, and smiled. Well, well. The rumors are true. You really can control yourself now. Zane's eyes slid to Maya. All because of her. How romantic. Get out. Roman's voice was pure alpha command. Before I forget, I'm civilized. Oh, I don't think so. You see, I came for information. And it looks like Dr. Chen was very forthcoming before you arrived. Zane held up a tablet. Neural bonding. Psychic filtering. Your little human is dying for you, Roman. Isn't that sweet? Maya felt Roman's shock ripple through the bond. His disbelief. His horror. You're lying, Roman said, but his voice shook. Am I? Ask her about the headaches. The nightmares. The blackouts. Zane's smile widened. She's becoming what you were, a monster. And there's nothing you can do to stop it. Unless. He tilted his head. You sever the bond. Let her go. Save her life. Or I could just kill you. You could try. But then you'd never know how to save her, would you? Because I have the only copy of the severance ritual. Dr. Chen was very helpful before, well. Zane gestured at the unconscious doctor. You know how interrogations go. Roman's entire body vibrated with barely controlled rage. Maya could feel him warring with himself, the need to protect her versus the need to destroy the threat in front of him. Maya stepped forward, placing a hand on Roman's arm. Through the bond, she sent one clear emotion. Trust me. What do you want? She asked Zane. Maya, no. What? Do you want? Zane's eyes gleamed with triumph. Simple. Roman steps down as alpha of the Obsidian Pack. Signs over Sterling Industries to me. And disappears. In exchange. He held up the tablet. I give you the ritual. You sever the bond. You both live. That's not happening, Roman snarled. Then she dies. Slowly. Painfully. Going mad while you watch. Zane shrugged. Your choice. Maya looked at Roman, at the man who'd swept into her life and turned it upside down. The man who was only whole because she was breaking. The man she'd somehow, impossibly, fallen in love with. And she made a decision. Give us time to think about it, Maya said. Maya. She squeezed Roman's arm. Please. Zane checked his watch. You have 48 hours. Then I go public with everything, the bond, the madness, your weakness. The other packs will tear you apart. He turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Roman? Tick-tock. I can hear her mind cracking from here. The Crescent Pack left as quickly as they'd come, leaving destruction in their wake. Roman turned to Maya, and the anguish in his eyes broke her heart. Is it true? He whispered. Are you? Maya touched her temple, where a headache had been building for the past hour. Where it always built now. I don't know. But we're going to find out. She held up the flash drive Dr. Chen had given her. Together. They didn't go back to the safe house. Roman drove them to a private medical facility, one owned by the pack, staffed by doctors who owed him their loyalty. Dr. Chen was stabilized and taken into emergency surgery. Maya sat in a sterile waiting room, the flash drive burning a hole in her pocket, while Roman paced like a caged animal. Stop, Maya finally said. You're making me dizzy. Roman stopped, but the tension in his body didn't ease. We should wait for Chen to wake up. He can explain. He might not wake up for days. We don't have days. Maya pulled out the flash drive. There's a computer in the consultation room. We need to see what's on this. Roman looked at the drive like it was a bomb. What if Zane was telling the truth? Then we deal with it. Maya stood, taking his hand. Together. Remember? His fingers laced through hers, and she felt his fear through the bond raw and overwhelming. The great Roman Sterling, alpha of the Obsidian Pack, was terrified of losing her. They found a computer in a private consultation room. Maya plugged in the drive while Roman stood behind her, his hand on her shoulder like an anchor. The files loaded. Medical scans, neural imaging, pages of data that Maya's veterinary training had only partially prepared her to understand. But some things were clear enough. "These are my brain scans," Maya said quietly, opening a series of images dated over the past 3 weeks. "Look at the progression." Roman leaned closer, and she heard his sharp intake of breath. The first scan, taken the day after the bite, showed normal human brain activity. But each subsequent scan showed changes. New neural pathways forming in regions that controlled aggression, predatory instincts, territorial behavior. Parts of her brain that should have been dormant were lighting up. And in the most recent scan, taken just 2 days ago without her knowledge, there were dark spots. Dead tissue where there should have been life. "Oh God," Roman breathed. Maya opened another file, a comparative analysis. On one side, Roman's brain scans from before the bite. On the other, hers from now. They were starting to look the same. "The neural bridge," Maya read from Dr. Chen's notes, her voice shaking. "Created during the bite and subsequent blood exchange. Acts as a conduit for neurochemical transfer. Subject Maya Bennett is absorbing alpha Roman Sterling's excess aggression, predatory drive, and symptoms of alpha madness through the bond. Her human neurology is attempting to process wolf brain chemistry, resulting in..." She couldn't finish. Couldn't say the words out loud. Roman did it for her. "Resulting in neurological degradation, brain damage, progressive loss of human cognition and emotional regulation." His voice was hollow. "You're dying. Because of me." Maya scrolled through more files, desperate for something, anything, that contradicted what they were seeing. Instead, she found projections. Mathematical models. Timelines. Estimated time to complete neural breakdown, 4 to 6 months. Symptoms: increasing aggression, loss of impulse control, violent episodes, dissociation, eventual loss of human consciousness. Prognosis: without intervention, subject will become feral. Permanent. Irreversible. The room spun. Maya gripped the desk, trying to breathe through the panic. "There has to be a way to fix this," Roman said, but even he didn't sound convinced. "There has to be." "There is." Maya opened the last file, the one labeled Severance Protocol. The ritual Zane mentioned. "It's here." They read in silence. The ritual was ancient pack magic, dangerous and painful. It required both parties to consent, a full moon, and the presence of a pack elder to oversee it. If performed correctly, it would sever the neural bond completely. If performed incorrectly, it could kill them both. "We do it," Maya said. "We have to." "No." She turned to look at him. "Roman." "No." His eyes were blazing gold, his wolf close to the surface. "You don't understand what you're asking. Severing the bond means severing everything. Every feeling, every connection, every emotion we share. It means I go back to the way I was before. And you." His voice cracked. "You forget. The ritual erases the bonded person from your memory. You won't remember me. Any of this. Us." Maya's heart stopped. That can't be." But Roman was already pulling up another document, the fine print of the severance ritual. And there it was, in clinical medical terminology: complete memory erasure of the bonding event and all associated experiences with the bonded individual is a necessary component of successful neural separation. "You'll forget me," Roman whispered. "And I'll go back to being a monster. Alone." The weight of it crushed the air from Maya's lungs. She thought of the past 3 weeks, the way Roman looked at her like she was his salvation, the way he made her coffee just right, the way he held her hand like she was precious. The gala. The dance. The moment he'd told her he was falling for her, all of it would be gone. She'd be back in her tiny apartment with black mold and unpaid bills, with no memory of midnight eyes and gentle hands. No memory of feeling seen. No memory of being loved. There has to be another way, Maya said desperately. Roman pulled her into his arms, holding her so tight it almost hurt. She felt his chest heaving against hers, felt the bond between them screaming at the thought of being severed. I can't lose you, he said into her hair. I won't. You don't have a choice. I'm dying, Roman. Slowly. And every day I stay connected to you, I get worse. She pulled back to look at him. Can't you feel it? The bond isn't just one way. You're pulling for me too. My humanity. My compassion. Everything that makes me me. Roman closed his eyes, and she knew he could feel it. The truth she'd been hiding from him. She was changing. Yesterday, she'd snapped at a nurse who'd bumped into her. Not just snapped, she'd snarled, felt the urge to grab the woman by the throat. Last week, she'd gone to her old clinic and hadn't been able to look at the animals without thinking about prey, about hunting, about the smell of fear. She was becoming something that wasn't Maya Bennett anymore. How long have you known? Roman asked quietly. I started suspecting a week ago, but I didn't want to believe it. Maya touched his face, memorizing every line. I thought if I ignored it, it would go away. I thought, her voice broke. I thought I could have both. You and myself. But I can't, can I? Roman pressed his forehead to hers. Through the bond, she felt everything he was feeling, the love, the guilt, the absolute devastation. It was too much. Too big. Too painful. We'll find another way, he said fiercely. I'll hire every specialist in the world. There is no other way. Maya stepped back, putting distance between them even though it felt like tearing off her own skin. Zane has the only complete copy of the ritual. And he wants you to give up everything you've built. Your pack. Your company. Your life. Then I'll give it to him. No. The word came out harder than she intended. You don't get to sacrifice yourself for me. Not after everything you've survived. Not after everything you've built. You think I care about any of that? Roman's laugh was bitter. You think Sterling Industries matters? The pack? Without you, I'm nothing. I'll go back to being the monster I was before. I'll lose my mind to the madness within a year. At least if I give Zane what he wants, you'll be alive. Free. Safe. Alone, Maya countered. You'll be alone. And you'll hate yourself for giving up. For letting him win. They stared at each other, two people drowning and unable to save each other. The door opened. Vera stood there, her usual composure cracked. I'm sorry to interrupt, but we have a problem. What now? Roman's voice was ragged. Zane went public. 20 minutes ago. Vera held up a tablet showing a news broadcast. He leaked everything. The bond, the madness, Dr. Chen's research. It's all over the media. Maya and Roman watched as the newscast played images of them at the gala, footage from the attack at the research facility, and, worst of all, leaked medical documents with Maya's name plastered across them. Breaking news. Roman Sterling, CEO of Sterling Industries and Alpha of the Obsidian Pack, has been using a human woman as a psychic filter for his alpha madness. Sources say Maya Bennett, a veterinary student, is slowly losing her sanity while Sterling remains stable. Questions are being raised about consent, exploitation, and whether Sterling is fit to lead. Maya felt the blood drain from her face. Oh God. My name. My face. Everyone will. You're being crucified, Vera said bluntly. Social media is calling you everything from a gold digger to a victim. The pack elders are demanding an emergency meeting. And, she hesitated. There are protesters outside Sterling Tower. Humans demanding justice for you. Shifters demanding Roman step down. Roman's phone started ringing. Then Maya's. Then the facility's phones. All at once, like the world was trying to reach them, to judge them, to tear them apart. We need to make a statement, Vera said. Control the narrative before. Before what? Roman's voice was dangerously quiet. Before they realize it's true? That I've been killing her? That I'm exactly the monster they think I am. You're not a monster, Maya said. Aren't I? He gestured at the tablet, at her name being dragged through the media. Look what I've done to you. Look what I've cost you. You didn't know. I should have known. Roman's voice rose, the wolf in it making the windows rattle. I should have questioned it. Should have wondered why I was suddenly stable. But I was so desperate to be normal, to be human, that I didn't care what it was costing you. I used you. That's not true. It is. His eyes were pure gold now, his control slipping. And now the whole world knows it. Your life is destroyed. Your reputation. Your future. Because you made the mistake of saving me. Maya crossed the room and grabbed his face in both hands, forcing him to look at her. Listen to me. You didn't use me. You didn't trick me. Yes, we didn't know what the bond was doing, but I chose to stay. I chose to be with you. And I'd choose it again. Even knowing it's killing you? Even knowing that. The bond between them flared, hot and fierce and desperate. Roman pulled her against him, and for a moment, they just held each other while the world burned down around them. What do we do? Maya whispered. Roman was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was steel. We call Zane. We arrange the trade. Roman, no. We do it on our terms. My company, my pack, everything he wants. Roman pulled back to look at her, and the determination in his eyes was absolute. In exchange, we get the complete ritual. We sever the bond. We save your life. And yours, Maya demanded. What happens to you? I don't matter. You matter to me. Tears were streaming down her face now, hot and furious. Don't you get it? I love you, you idiot. I love you, and I can't watch you sacrifice yourself for me. I can't. Roman kissed her. It was desperate and claiming and goodbye all at once. Maya kissed him back with everything she had, trying to memorize the taste of him, the feel of his hands in her hair, the way he held her like she was the only thing keeping him tethered to the earth. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Roman rested his forehead against hers. I love you too, he said quietly. Which is why I have to let you go. Before Maya could argue, before she could fight, Roman pulled out his phone and dialed. Zane answered on the first ring. I was wondering when you'd call. Name your terms, Roman said. Everything you want. But I have conditions. I'm listening. The ritual happens tonight. Full moon is in 6 hours. You provide the pack elder to oversee it. You guarantee Maya's safety and ensure she's taken care of after, his voice caught. After she forgets. And in return? I sign over Sterling Industries. I step down as Alpha. I leave the city. Roman's jaw clenched. And I never come back. Maya grabbed his arm, shaking her head frantically, but Roman wouldn't look at her. Deal, Zane said, triumph clear in his voice. Midnight. The old ceremonial grounds in Silver Woods. Come alone. Both of you. The line went dead. Roman finally met Maya's eyes, and the pain there nearly dropped her to her knees. I'm sorry, he whispered. But this is the only way. It's not. We can fight him. We can. And you die while we're fighting. I won't risk that. Roman cupped her face, his thumb wiping away her tears. I need you to understand. Even if you don't remember me, even if I spend the rest of my life knowing you're out there somewhere with no idea who I am, at least you'll be alive. At least you'll be free. This isn't freedom, Maya sobbed. This is torture. I know. Roman kissed her forehead, soft and reverent. But I'd rather be tortured knowing you're safe than happy knowing you're dying. Vera cleared her throat. We have 6 hours. We need to prepare. Roman nodded, but he didn't let go of Maya. They stood there in that sterile consultation room, holding each other while the clock ticked down, while the media frenzy raged outside, while their last hours together slipped away like water through their fingers. And, through the bond, that connection that was killing her and saving him. Maya felt his heart breaking. Just like hers. The hours before midnight crawled by like years. Maya sat in the back of the SUV as Vera drove them toward Silver Woods, watching Roman's profile in the dim light. He hadn't spoken since they left the medical facility. Hadn't looked at her. He sat rigid, jaw clenched, hands fisted on his thighs like he was physically holding himself together. The bond between them pulsed with his anguish. With hers. Roman, she tried again. Please. There has to be another way. There isn't. His voice was flat. Dead. I've had my best people searching for alternatives all day. There's nothing. The bond can't be modified or weakened, only severed completely. And the ritual Zane has is the only one that works. So we just give up? Let him win. We let you live. Finally, Roman turned to look at her, and the devastation in his golden eyes stole her breath. That's not giving up. That's the only thing that matters. Maya wanted to argue, but the headache that had been building all day chose that moment to spike. She gasped, pressing her hands to her temples as pain lanced through her skull. And something else. Rage. Not hers, his. Leaking through the bond in waves. She felt his wolf clawing at his control, felt the madness that had been quiet for weeks suddenly screaming inside her head. Mine. Protect. Kill. Destroy. Maya? Roman's hands were on her face, his voice sharp with fear. Maya, look at me. She forced her eyes open. The world had a red tinge to it. Her fingers ached like they wanted to become claws. It's getting worse, she managed. I can feel you. Your wolf. It's so loud. Roman pulled her against his chest, one hand cradling the back of her head. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Just hold on. A few more hours and this will be over. Over. Such a small word for something so catastrophic. Maya clung to him, breathing in his scent, pine and rain, and something uniquely him. Memorizing it. Because in a few hours, she wouldn't remember this. Wouldn't remember him. Wouldn't remember falling in love for the first time in her life. Tell me something, she whispered against his chest. Something I can hold on to. Even if I don't remember why it matters. Roman was quiet for a long moment. Then, you saved my life twice. Once in that alley. And once every day after, just by existing. You made me want to be better. Made me believe I could be better. You're the bravest, kindest, most stubborn person I've ever met. His voice broke. And loving you has been the greatest honor of my life. Maya's tears soaked into his shirt. I'm going to forget this conversation. I know. I'm going to forget us. I know. I'm going to wake up tomorrow and have no idea why my heart feels broken. Roman's arms tightened around her. I know. The SUV pulled to a stop. Vera's voice came from the front seat, heavy with grief. We're here. Silver Woods was ancient, a forest of towering pines that predated the city, sacred ground where pack rituals had been performed for centuries. The ceremonial grounds sat in a clearing beneath the full moon, a circle of standing stones that seemed to glow with their own light. Zane was already there, flanked by a dozen of his pack. And standing in the center of the circle was an elderly woman with silver hair and eyes like storm clouds, a pack elder. Elder Mara, Roman said, his voice tight with surprise. I didn't expect. Did you think I'd let this abomination continue? Mara's voice was sharp. A human bonded to an alpha, dying slowly while you play at being whole? This ends tonight. The word abomination hit Maya like a slap. That's what they thought she was. What they thought their love was. Maybe they were right. Roman helped her out of the SUV, his hand firm on her lower back. They walked toward the circle together, and Maya felt the power in the air, ancient magic thrumming beneath her feet. Zane smiled as they approached. Right on time. I have to admit, Roman, I didn't think you'd actually go through with it. Your pride, your pack, your empire, all of it, for one human girl. She's worth more than all of it combined, Roman said coldly. How touching. Zane held out a tablet. The contracts are ready. Sterling Industries transferred to Crescent Holdings. Your resignation as Alpha, effective immediately. Exile from Obsidian City, permanent. His smile widened. Sign, and we'll begin the ritual. Roman took the tablet. His hand hovered over the signature line. Wait. Maya grabbed his wrist. Roman, please. Don't do this. I have to. You're condemning yourself. The madness will come back. I'll deal with it. He covered her hand with his. As long as you're safe, I'll deal with anything. That's not fair. Life isn't fair, Maya. But this, he gestured at the contracts. This is the closest I can get to making things right. He signed. Each stroke of his finger across the screen felt like a nail in a coffin. Zane's smile was victorious. Excellent. Elder Mara, if you would. The old woman stepped forward, her expression grave. Do you both consent to this severance? Understand that the bond will be broken, memories erased, connection destroyed. I consent, Roman said immediately. Mara looked at Maya. And you, child? Maya looked at Roman, at the man she loved, who was sacrificing everything for her. At the bond between them, toxic and beautiful and killing her by inches. I consent, she whispered. Then take your places. They stood opposite each other in the circle, the standing stones beginning to glow brighter. Elder Mara began chanting in a language Maya didn't recognize, something old, primal, that made the air vibrate. The bond between them began to burn. Maya gasped, falling to her knees. Roman mirrored her, both of them caught in the ritual's grip. The connection that had been a constant presence in her mind started to unravel, thread by thread. And with each thread that broke, she lost something. The memory of their first dance. Gone. The way he took his coffee. Gone. The sound of his laugh. Gone. Roman. She reached for him across the circle, desperate, terrified. He reached back. Maya, But the words dissolved before he could finish them. The bond was coming apart too fast, memories scattering like ashes in the wind. Maya saw flashes, his eyes in the alley, gold and dying. His hand in hers. A kiss in an elevator. Coffee in the morning. I love you. I love you. I love. The bond snapped. Maya collapsed, the world going dark. The last thing she heard was Roman screaming her name. And then, nothing. Maya woke up in a hospital bed with no idea how she got there. White walls. Sterile smell. Monitors beeping. Her wrist bandaged with a scar she didn't remember getting. A nurse bustled in. Oh good, you're awake. You had us worried, Han. 3 days is a long time to be out. 3 days. Maya's voice was hoarse. What happened? You collapsed at the veterinary clinic where you work. Dr. Harrison found you. Brought you straight here. The nurse checked her vitals. You were severely dehydrated, malnourished, and your brain scans showed some unusual activity. But you're on the mend now. Maya tried to remember. The clinic. Right. She worked at a 24-hour veterinary clinic, barely making ends meet. She was a student. She was broke. She was alone. Why did that thought make her chest ache? Your friend has been here every day, the nurse said. Lily. Sweet girl. She just stepped out for coffee. Lily burst through the door moments later, her eyes red from crying. Maya. Oh my God, you're awake. She threw her arms around Maya, sobbing. I was so scared. You just disappeared for weeks, and then Dr. Harrison said you collapsed and you wouldn't wake up. Disappeared. Maya pulled back, confused. What are you talking about? Lily stared at her. You don't remember? Maya, you've been gone for almost a month. You stopped answering texts, didn't show up for classes, weren't at our apartment. I filed a missing person report. A month. Missing. Maya searched her memory and found nothing. Just a blank space where time should have been. I don't remember, she whispered. Lily, I don't remember anything. The doctor was called. Tests were run. They told her she'd experienced a dissociative fugue state, a rare condition where someone loses track of time and identity. They said it was probably stress-induced. They said she'd been found wandering near Silver Woods, confused and disoriented. They said she was lucky to be alive. But Maya didn't feel lucky. She felt empty. Like something vital had been carved out of her chest, and she couldn't remember what it was. She was discharged a day later, with prescriptions for headaches and recommendations for therapy. Lily helped her back to their tiny apartment, the one with black mold and broken heat that Maya vaguely remembered hating. "We'll figure this out," Lily promised. "Whatever happened, we'll get through it." Maya nodded, but she couldn't shake the feeling that she'd lost something important. Something irreplaceable. That night, unable to sleep, she found herself scrolling through news articles on her phone, trying to piece together the missing month. And that's when she saw it. Sterling Industries sold to Crescent Holdings. Roman Sterling steps down as Alpha, leaves city. Maya stared at the headline, at the photo of a devastatingly handsome man with dark hair and golden eyes. Something in her chest twisted at the sight of him. Who is he? Why did looking at his face make her want to cry? She clicked the article, reading frantically. Shocking deal. Unprecedented move. Sterling reportedly suffering from alpha madness. Connection to human woman. Maya Bennett. Her name. In connection with this man. This Roman Sterling. Maya's hands shook as she searched for more articles. Found dozens. Pictures of her and him at some gala, looking at each other like the rest of the world didn't exist. Reports about a bond, about madness, about sacrifice. About love. Oh God, she breathed. She knew him. She'd loved him. And somehow, some way, she'd forgotten. Maya grabbed her coat and ran. She found him 3 hours later in the only place that made sense, the alley behind her clinic. Roman sat with his back against the brick wall, right where she must have found him that first night. He looked diminished. Still beautiful, but hollow. His eyes were closed, his breathing labored. Roman, Maya said. His eyes snapped open, golden and wild and wrong. He stared at her like she was a ghost. You shouldn't be here. I read the articles. I saw the pictures. Maya took a step closer. What did we do? What did I forget? Roman laughed, a broken, desperate sound. Everything. You forgot everything. He stood, swaying slightly. That was the point. Then tell me. Please. I need to understand why I feel like I'm missing half my soul. Because you are. Roman's voice was raw. And I'm the bastard who took it from you. The bond. The article said. The bond was killing you. Making you absorb my madness while I got to play at being human. So we severed it. Saved your life. Destroyed everything else. He took a step back. And now you don't remember, which means it worked. So go. Live your life. Forget you ever met me. I can't forget something I don't remember. Maya's voice rose. But I feel it, Roman. I feel this hole inside me, and I don't know how to fix it, and looking at you makes it hurt worse and better at the same time, and I don't understand. Roman closed his eyes, jaw clenched. You're feeling the echo. The ghost of what we had. It'll fade. What if I don't want it to fade? You don't know what you're saying. Then tell me. Maya crossed the distance between them, grabbing his jacket. Tell me what we were. Tell me why you gave up everything. Tell me why I can't stop crying over someone I don't even remember. Roman looked down at her, and the anguish in his eyes was unbearable. Because I loved you. Because you saved me in every way a person can be saved. Because 3 weeks with you were worth more than a lifetime without you. Then why did you let me forget? Because you were dying. His hands came up to cup her face, gentle despite the tremor in them. And I'd rather lose you completely than watch you fade away. Maya stared up at him, at this stranger who felt like home. What if there was another way? What if we could? I don't know, rebuild what we had. It doesn't work like that. The bond is gone. The connection is severed. We can't. He stopped. stared at her wrist where his hands had moved to steady her. At the scar. The bite mark. That's impossible, he whispered. What? The scar. It should have faded with the ritual. Should have disappeared completely. Roman traced the crescent shape with shaking fingers. Unless what? Roman's eyes met hers, and for the first time, she saw hope flicker there. Unless the bond didn't fully sever. Unless some part of it held on. Maya's heart raced. Is that possible? It shouldn't be. But nothing about us has been possible from the start. Roman pulled her closer. Maya, I need you to tell me the truth. Do you feel anything when I touch you? Anything at all? Maya concentrated. And there, beneath the confusion and fear and grief, she felt it. A spark. A connection. A thread of something that felt like recognition. Yes, she breathed. I feel you. Roman's expression transformed, grief shifting to determination. Then maybe the bond wasn't destroyed. Maybe it was just dormant. Waiting. Waiting for what? For you to choose it again. Choose me. Without the memories, without the obligation, without anything but what you feel right now. Roman's hands tightened on her wrists. But Maya, you need to understand what that means. The bond will come back. The connection will rebuild. And the madness. We'll figure it out, Maya interrupted. Together. That's what you said, wasn't it? In whatever life I forgot. Roman stared at her like she was a miracle. You don't even remember me. Why would you? Because somehow I fell in love with you once. And even though I don't remember it, I think. She touched his face and felt that spark flare brighter. I think I could do it again. For the first time in 3 days, Roman smiled. This is insane, Lily said for the 10th time, pacing Maya's apartment. You're telling me you had some kind of psychic bond with a werewolf billionaire. It almost killed you. You had your memory erased, and now you want to rebuild it? Maya sat on the couch next to Roman, their hands intertwined. The connection between them was growing stronger by the hour, not the overwhelming flood it had been before, but something gentler. Intentional. Chosen. I know how it sounds, Maya said. But Lily, I can feel it. This is real. Real doesn't mean safe. Lily stopped pacing, her expression softening. I'm scared for you, Maya. Last time this happened, you almost died. Last time, we didn't know what we were dealing with, Roman interjected. His voice was stronger than it had been in the alley, the madness receding as the bond rebuilt. This time, we have knowledge. We have a plan. What plan? Lily demanded. Maya pulled out the flash drive Dr. Chen had given her, the one that had survived everything. The research. It shows how the bond works, what went wrong. But there's something else in here. Notes about balancing the bond instead of severing it. She'd spent the past 12 hours going through every file with Roman and Dr. Chen, who'd woken from his coma with crucial information. The bond hadn't been inherently toxic. What had made it dangerous was the imbalance, Roman taking without giving, Maya absorbing without releasing. Think of it like a circuit, Dr. Chen had explained from his hospital bed. It was flowing one direction, overloading Maya's system. But if you can make it flow both ways, if Roman can learn to absorb Maya's humanity while she processes his wolf nature, it could stabilize. Balance. That's theoretical, Vera had warned. It's never been done. Neither has surviving the severance ritual and choosing to rebuild the bond, Roman had countered. We're in uncharted territory anyway. Now, sitting in Maya's apartment with Lily staring at them like they'd lost their minds, Maya felt the weight of that choice. The bond is already reforming, Roman said. I can feel Maya in my mind again. But this time, it's different. Softer. Like she's a presence instead of a lifeline I'm drowning in. He looked at Maya. And I'm trying to give back. To share my strength instead of just taking yours. How do you know it's working? Lily asked. Maya held up her hand. The bite scar was glowing faintly, but definitely glowing. Soft gold light pulsed beneath her skin in time with her heartbeat. The mark activated when we chose to reconnect, Maya explained. Dr. Chen says it's a sign the bond is equalizing. Finding balance. Lily sat down heavily. This is crazy. I know. You could die. I know. But you're doing it anyway. Maya looked at Roman, at the man she'd loved and lost and found again. Yeah, I am. Lily was quiet for a long moment. Then she sighed. Okay, so what do we do about Zane? Because he's not going to be happy that his plan failed. She was right. Zane had everything he'd wanted: Sterling Industries, Roman's territory, his victory. But if the bond reformed, if Roman recovered, he'll see it as a threat, Roman said grimly. And he'll come after us again. Then we don't give him the chance. Maya stood, pulling Roman with her. We go to him first. The Crescent Holdings building was a tower of silver and glass on the opposite side of the city from Sterling Tower, or what used to be Sterling Tower. Maya felt Roman's grief through the bond as they approached, felt his rage at what he'd lost. We'll get it back, she sent through the connection, still getting used to this new ability to share thoughts. I don't care about the building, Roman sent back. I only care about keeping you safe. They were flanked by what remained of Roman's most loyal pack members, wolves who'd refused to abandon him even after he'd stepped down as alpha. Vera led the group, her expression carved from ice. Zane's security tried to stop them at the entrance. Vera dealt with them efficiently. They rode the elevator to the top floor, Roman's old office, now Zane's. The doors opened to reveal the alpha of the Crescent Pack sitting at Roman's desk, looking entirely too pleased with himself. Roman Sterling, Zane drawled. I didn't expect to see you again. I thought our business was concluded. You thought wrong. Roman stepped into the office, and Maya felt his alpha power roll off him in waves. It was returning, stronger than before, tempered with the humanity he'd gained through their bond. I'm here to renegotiate. Zane's smile faltered. The contracts are signed. You gave me everything. Under false pretenses. You claimed the severance ritual would work. It didn't. That's not my problem. It is when the bond you tried to destroy is now stronger than ever. Roman gestured to Maya, to the glowing mark on her wrist. And balanced. She's not dying. I'm not losing my mind. We found a way. Zane stood slowly, his casual demeanor cracking. That's impossible. Apparently not. Maya stepped forward. Here's what's going to happen. Roman is taking back Sterling Industries. You're going to sign the transfer papers and walk away. Or what? Zane laughed. You'll ask nicely? You have no leverage. Don't we? Maya pulled out a folder, documents Dr. Chen had compiled before the attack. Turns out, you've been embezzling from your own pack for years. Skimming profits, hiding assets, betraying pack law. We have proof. All of it. Zane's expression turned murderous. You're bluffing. Try me. Maya met his eyes without flinching, and she felt Roman's pride through the bond. We release this information, and the Crescent Pack will tear you apart. Pack law doesn't forgive theft from your own people. You destroy an entire pack's leadership to get your revenge? No, Roman said quietly. We'd free an entire pack from a corrupt alpha. Your second in command, Marcus, he'd make a far better leader. We've already spoken to him. Zane's face went pale. Marcus wouldn't. He would. He did. Vera stepped forward with a tablet. The Crescent Pack elders have already called for a vote of no confidence. Sign the papers, Zane. Walk away with your life. It's more than you deserve. For a long moment, Zane looked like he might fight. His eyes flashed, his wolf rising. But he was surrounded by Roman's loyal wolves, outnumbered and outmaneuvered. He signed the papers. This isn't over, Zane snarled as security escorted him out. You'll regret this. I regret nothing, Roman said. He was already moving to the windows, looking out at the city he'd reclaimed. Nothing except the time I wasted giving you what you didn't earn. The office emptied, leaving just Maya and Roman alone in the space where this had all begun. We did it, Maya breathed. Roman turned to her, and the smile on his face was transformative. You did it. You saved me again. We saved each other. Maya crossed the office and wrapped her arms around him. Through the bond, she felt his love, his gratitude, his absolute devotion. And she sent back her own, equally strong, equally real. I'm falling in love with you all over again, Maya whispered against his chest. Is that crazy? Probably. Roman tilted her face up to his. But I'm right there with you. He kissed her, soft and reverent and full of promise. The bond between them sang, balanced and beautiful and right. When they finally broke apart, Maya saw the future stretching before them. Challenges, yes. Dangers, absolutely. But also joy, partnership, love. Ready to take on the world? Roman asked. Maya grinned. With you? Always. 6 months later, Maya stood in the Sterling Foundation's new veterinary research wing, watching through the observation window as their team performed a groundbreaking surgery. The facility was state-of-the-art, something she'd only dreamed of when she was working double shifts at that rundown clinic. Dr. Bennett? One of her researchers approached. The board is waiting for your presentation. Dr. Bennett. Maya still wasn't used to the title. Roman had insisted she finish her degree, accelerated program, full funding. She'd graduated top of her class 3 months ago. Tell them I'll be right there, Maya said, touching the glowing mark on her wrist. It had become habit, a way to check the bond, to make sure the balance held. It did. 6 months of careful monitoring, of learning to give and take equally, of building something unprecedented. The bond was stable. Strong. Theirs. She found Roman in his office, the real one, back in Sterling Tower. He looked up as she entered, and his smile made her heart skip. How's the surgery going? He asked. Perfectly. Dr. Harrison is a miracle worker. Maya circled his desk and perched on the edge. We're changing veterinary medicine, Roman. The techniques we're developing, they're going to save thousands of animals. You're changing veterinary medicine, Roman corrected, pulling her into his lap. I'm just funding your brilliance. You're doing more than that. Maya traced the line of his jaw. The pack has never been stronger. Sterling Industries is thriving. You're proving that an alpha can lead with compassion and strength. It was true. Roman had reclaimed his position as alpha, but he was different now. Better. The humanity Maya gave him through the bond tempered his wolf's aggression, while his wolf's instincts sharpened her human compassion. They were greater together than either had been apart. I have something for you, Roman said, suddenly nervous in a way that made Maya's pulse race. He pulled a small box from his desk drawer. Maya's breath caught. Roman. I know it's only been 6 months since you got your memories back. Or, well, since we built new ones. Roman opened the box, revealing a ring simple, elegant, with a stone that seemed to glow gold in the light. But I knew 3 weeks into our first try that I wanted forever with you. This time, I'm asking properly. He slid off the chair, kneeling before her. Maya Bennett. You saved my life, my sanity, my soul. You chose me twice, once when you didn't know better, and once when you did. You're my partner, my balance, my everything. His voice roughened with emotion. Will you marry me? Maya couldn't speak past the lump in her throat. She just nodded, tears streaming down her face. Roman slipped the ring on her finger, and, through the bond, she felt his joy explode like sunshine. He stood, pulling her into a kiss that was equal parts celebration and promise. I love you, Maya said when they finally broke apart. I loved you before I knew you, and I'll love you long after. She stopped. Through the bond, she'd felt something. A flutter. A spark. Something new. Roman felt it too. His eyes widened. Maya? What was that? Maya pressed a hand to her stomach, where the sensation had originated. I don't know. It felt like. She looked at him, wonder and terror mixing in equal measure. Roman, is it possible for the bond to create something? To, I don't know, evolve. Roman's hand covered hers, and through their connection, they both felt it again. a tiny presence. Not quite formed, but definitely there. "Oh my God," Roman breathed. Could you be? "I don't know. We didn't think it was possible." "I'm human, you're a shifter. The bond is unprecedented," Maya was babbling, her mind racing. "We need tests. We need to talk to Dr. Chen. We need to." Roman kissed her quiet. "We need to breathe. Whatever this is, whatever happens, we'll face it together." Maya nodded, leaning into him. Through the bond, she felt his love, his excitement, his fierce protectiveness already extending to this maybe baby they'd somehow created. Together, she agreed. 3 weeks later. The wedding was small, just Pack family and close friends in the gardens behind Sterling Tower. Lily served as maid of honor, crying through the entire ceremony. Vera managed everything with her usual efficiency, though even she dabbed at her eyes during the vows. Dr. Chen had confirmed what the bond had told them. Maya was pregnant. Impossibly, miraculously pregnant with a child that was both human and shifter, the first of its kind. The medical implications were staggering. The emotional ones overwhelming. But as Maya stood before Roman, exchanging vows under the full moon, she felt nothing but peace. "I promise to choose you every day," Roman said, his hands holding hers. "To balance our bond, to honor your humanity while sharing my wolf. To protect you, cherish you, and love you for all the days of my life." "I promise to choose you every day," Maya echoed. "To be your anchor when the madness comes, to share your strength when mine fails. To build a life with you that's ours alone, unprecedented, imperfect, and absolutely worth fighting for." They sealed their vows with a kiss, and the pack held their approval at the moon. Later, at the reception, Maya found herself at the window, looking out at the city where she'd once struggled to survive. So much had changed. She'd gone from broke and desperate to secure and purposeful. From alone to loved. From ordinary to extraordinary. "Penny for your thoughts?" Roman appeared beside her, wrapping an arm around her waist. "Just thinking about that night in the alley. How terrified I was. How close I came to walking away." Maya leaned into him. "What would have happened if I hadn't stopped?" "I would have died," Roman said simply. "And you would have gone on with your life, never knowing what you missed." "I can't imagine that life anymore." "Neither can I." Roman turned her to face him, his golden eyes warm. "You know what the best part is? We get to build whatever comes next together. New bond, new baby, new life. All of it ours to create." Maya touched the mark on her wrist, still glowing, still pulsing with their shared heartbeat. "No regrets?" "Not a single one." Roman pressed a kiss to her forehead. "You saved me in that alley, Maya. But you keep saving me every single day just by being you." "Right back at you, Alpha." Through the windows, the full moon rose over Obsidian City, bathing everything in silver light. And two souls, once separate, once broken, once lost, stood together, balanced and whole and ready for whatever came next. Hey everyone, thank you so much for staying with Maya and Roman through this entire emotional journey. If you loved this story, please hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below telling me what your favorite moment was. Did you cry when they had to sever the bond? Did you cheer when Maya chose to rebuild it? Let me know. And if you want more supernatural romance stories that will wreck you in the best way, make sure those notifications are on because I've got so many more coming your way. Until next time, keep believing in love that defies the impossible. See you in the next one.